talking about Seminary Days this week, or at this particular session. It happens that I was the first female to go to an Orthodox seminary. And I rode to seminary on the train with Father Antony. We had just met at an ordination. And a lot of times questions have come in as to why I wanted to go. I came from
You wanted me, that's why.
That's actually, a lot of people thought that. A lot of people really thought that. Oh, she went to find a husband. I had no intention of being married to a clergyman. I wanted to work with religious education. But I applied to seminary and they said I couldn't come because they didn't have facilities for women. I didn't tell my parents that they didn't accept me. I went to New York and I knocked on the door of the Dean of Students and I said, I'm here, can I just attend classes? Please let me attend classes. I'll take care of my own facilities. I'll find where I can live. And he said, well, it's not up to me, it's up to the provost, and he lives upstairs, and if it's all right with him, I have no objection. So I ran upstairs and spoke to Professor Verhovskoy and told him that Father Schmemann, the Dean of Students, had said it was okay with him if it was okay with him. And that's how I got into seminary. But it wasn't all that easy. There was a lot of resentment. It was an all-male bastion. And the young men were not that nice. They were not that accepting of the fact that I was there. Can you tell me why?
You were a temptress.
No, I wasn't a temptress. I think they felt invaded. I didn't get the idea that anybody thought I was a temptress.
No, they knew you were smarter than them, and they were jealous of your intelligence. She never took a note. We were sitting there writing notes, and she would sit there, and then when the time came to take an exam, she got a perfect score. So
I wanted to work with religious education. We were new, this was a new area for us, and that's 1958, but we had no, in our archdiocese, we had no overall plan for religious education. There was no head of religious education. There were no, materials would come out randomly from the archdiocese, but there was nothing with lesson plans and a concrete way of disseminating religious education. So I thought that would be me. I would study theology, and then I would study education, and figure out how to do that. I wanted to be the person in our archdiocese who was in charge of religious education. That, however, did not work because, like the predictions of many people who knew I was going to seminary, I did meet and marry Father Antony, who was Kenny at the time. I still call him Kenny. He had come to Canton, from Canton, Ohio, and there were 4 seminarians at St. Vladimir's, which is where we went. 4 seminarians from that school in Canton, Ohio, and we were gifted with weekly and sometimes bi-weekly lectures that turned me on, that really engaged my thought processes and made me want to go. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more about the Fathers. I wanted to learn more about the Trinity. I just wanted to learn more about eternal life for sure, which takes us back to our last talk on reincarnation. But I did enjoy my time there, even though I felt a lot of hostility from the young men who did feel invaded and who did feel a woman had no place there. Don't forget that was 1958.
Well, overall you felt unwelcomed. How about with Father Antony? Did you think she belonged there?
I took care.
Women in general belong in seminary.
Now they're
It's loaded.
loaded with women that are studying theology. But it was my mission to look out after her.
And he did. He was a good friend.
She would go somewhere to buy a book and then not have enough money to take the train back to the school. So I would have to go out where she was and bring her back with me. I rescued her so many times from funny situations. And we just spent an enormous amount of time together. There was a gal, her name was Dot, and she had a little shop, a coffee shop, around the corner from the seminary. So we could buy a turkey leg for 50 cents, and we would split it, her and I. That would be our meal.
Those were really salad days. Those were really salad days.
Salad?
Well, they call it salad days when you're in your first, when you're in your early relationship and you don't have a lot of money.
Were you planning on being married?
No, I wasn't. What happened was, after the first year, we had become such close friends. Actually, he asked me to marry him very soon after we got in seminary, but he said, "And you'll go to work, and I'll finish school." And I said to myself,
Yeah.
"Is this man crazy? I mean, everybody wants me." That's what I thought at the time. And why should I do that? Why should I do that? But after the first year, I really missed the companionship, and I really missed him. I mean, we had grown very close, and it was a friendship. There was nothing, there was no romance at the time. It was just a close friendship, and I missed that. There was a hole in my life when he wasn't there. And so, when we went back the next year, I said, "Do you still want to get married? Because if you do, let's do before I change my mind." Because I knew that I didn't want to be without him.
So we got in the car, my parents got me, and I had not been feeling well. And I have this rare blood disease, and it manifested itself then. Anyway, we drove to Canton, Ohio, and I had to audition on that couch over there that's right behind you, Gene. I had the audition to her family by singing something in Arabic, which I knew very little of. And we later got in the car, and we called up, at the time, Father Philip Saliba, who was the priest in Cleveland, Ohio. It's very funny, because I said, "Where do you live, Father?" He says, "I live on Burrow Road." I said, "What? Pearl or Burrow?" "Yeah, Burrow." Pearl or Burrow? We went through it maybe 10 times. We got lost, of course.
Because we were looking for Burl Road, and it was Pearl.
We finally got there real late at night, and he agreed to marry us. And during the wedding ceremony, Archbishop Anthony Bashir was trying to reach Father Philip Saliba, and he told, "I hope you didn't marry those 2 crazy kids." He said, "Well, it's done," because the Archbishop really wanted to see Lynn finish, and I don't think he wanted me to get married, and he was like a father to us.
He really was.
And you know, in those days, he used to send us $100 every month. You know, back in the 50s, $100 like $1,000 today. We were the only students that got a check from the Archbishop for our spending money
The other jurisdictions didn't get help. The other jurisdictions that attended the seminary didn't get help from their various dioceses
Or hierarchs.
or hierarchs.
But it was a real experience for Lynn. Now, talking about it, what image conjures up in your mind?
Sitting in class, listening to and being mesmerized by. I couldn't take enough knowledge in. We had top of the line professors. We had scholars that had been at the Sorbonne. We were very fortunate to study under the professorships that we did. And I drank it all in, and I really didn't want it to end. I didn't care at that time if I was going to be working with religious education or not. I just wanted to drink in the theology that I was learning.
And by the way, this was a time of great hope for the unity of the Orthodox Church and for a better world. And we lived and breathed excitement. Thank you, and God bless you for listening.